Raquel, this week was amazing. If you are a real estate agent ending 2025, heading into 2026, you need to know the conversational structure you need to have to be excellent. Phil, as always, knocked it out of the park. It is something that all of us need to be improving on. He pointed out a lot of things, including how can you expect to perform like a pro when you practice like an amateur? And so he talked about having conversational excellence, but also practicing it ahead of time. So enjoy this episode. It's an absolute banger. Phil M. Jones, exactly what to say to close more deals in 2026. Enjoy. So you know how we do this with Monday Rocket Fuel. Amy, myself, and Raquel, we all rotate through guests or the selection of guests. And we've had Phil on our bucket list for a while. Both Amy and I have had long relationships with Phil. I'm a certified guide in the Exactly What to Say program. Amy's been through the trainings as well. And as the year has progressed, looking at 2026, it became abundantly clear that one of the things we all need for ourselves and for our teams and really for our clients, even for our personal relationships, is improvement in conversational excellence. Like we are no longer in Kansas, and we are no longer a bunch of Dorothys. Like the landscape has changed drastically over the last 3 years. And Amy, we felt like bringing Phil on to kind of refresh for those of us who've been through it and introduce for those of us who have not the importance of choosing your words wisely in conversational relationships.
I feel like Phil's training and Phil's book is one of those things that we as agents should be revisiting regularly. Actually, I was talking to some of my team partners this morning during one of our accountability sessions, and I was saying how when I came back from Phil's certified guide training to when I took the Exactly What to Say course, I kept his book and his notes beside my desk, and I opened it up consistently prior to prospecting, prior to certain conversations and meetings that I was going into. And there is literally no greater communicator, author, speaker on this planet than Phil when it comes to helping agents. And I know you help other industries too, but since this is real estate, but helping agents just have the right language to be able to bridge those conversations from, okay, I'm at this certain point. Now I want to get it to take it further. And we were talking about that this morning, is like, how do I go from building rapport and having a relationship with somebody to actually being able to find out what is their motivation, ability, and willingness to transact in real estate? And Phil has got the key. He's got the language, he's got the words to say, and today is going to be so good. I'm really pumped.
Yeah, today's the first time Phil's actually disappointed me in our relationship, Amy. And I'm just going to be honest with you. He may not know where I'm going with this, but you do. Phil's office used to be directly across from Magnolia Bakery in New York City. And when Amy and I were there, every day I would go down and I would bring back my tub of banana pudding, which is no longer possible because Phil, it sounds like, has moved his corporate office a few hours away. Other than that, Phil has never let me down. So Phil, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure to be here. And Holy Grail, Joe, is we still have a tiny satellite office in that exact location.
Hey,
so
let's go.
There you go. There you go.
Oh.
With Magnolia Bakery. And if you've never been to New York City and you've never had the banana pudding, it's a reason to book a flight, just in case you're wondering. It is worth it. It is worth it. So are we rocking? Is this how you intro? Is this how it's
We're ready to go. We're ready to go. I do want to give a special shout out. We haven't done this before. I know we have a lot of individuals on here, but I know we have a lot of watch parties as well. So whether you're an individual or a watch party, give Phil an idea of where you guys are chiming in from. He's got relationships all across North America, but I think it'd be fun for him to see how many different locations we have: Minnesota, Vero Beach, Vegas, Tampa,
Breckenridge,
San Francisco. I was up there yesterday. Knoxville, Tennessee. So Phil, you can see we've got agents from all across North America.
I love it. And I see my boy Sean Carpenter was there. It's nice to see names that I know as well. Some friends here on the call, which is great. So thanks for lighting up the chat. We're going to keep the chat lighting up throughout. And we have like 40 odd minutes here. So I want to be able to make it count. You guys ready to go to work?
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
So what I thought I would do today is to remind you what I believe the most important thing that every one of us should remember is something I joke about from stage often. And when I'm on stage is I joke that the worst time to think about the thing you're going to say is in the moment where you're saying it. Now, I hate to break it to you, that's not a joke. Actually, I'm deadly serious. How many times have you stepped away from a conversation and thought, who on earth was that idiot? With the person you were speaking about obviously being yourself. How many times have you stepped away from a conversation and thought shoulda, woulda, coulda, and then been thinking about how do you have a do-over on said conversation, but you can never change it. See, what you can do is pre-brief conversations instead of debriefing conversations, and chances are you can make a hell of a lot of change. When we go deep in a certification environment, one thing we spend a huge amount of time on is helping people identify their critical conversations. Would it help if you knew what a critical conversation was? This means yes. See, a critical conversation is a moment inside a moment where your success or failure inside that moment has an over-indexing impact upon the overall success you're looking to achieve. Got it? No, you're not got it. You're not got it. See, a critical conversation is a moment inside a moment where your success or failure inside that moment has an over-indexing impact upon the overall success you're looking to achieve. Now, I know you still not got it. There's been some recent studies that share that you have to hear a new idea at least 20 times before you hear it for the first time. A critical conversation is a moment inside a moment where your success or failure inside that moment has an over-indexing impact upon the overall success you're looking to achieve. So to prove that you've not got this, tell me in the chat right now what might be an example of a critical conversation in your world. What is something that has an over-indexing impact upon the overall success you're looking to achieve? Okay. Price reductions, delivering difficult news tactfully, listing appointments, price reductions, state of the market, shifting market, open houses, how's the market, setting list price when they walk into an open house. See, what most of you are doing here is you're not even identifying moments. You're identifying outcomes. Now, you can have every desire for every possible outcome that you would want to achieve in the entire world. But if you cannot identify the moment where you can most influence that outcome, then you're hoping, wishing, and praying. What do professionals do? They work on a micro part of their game that helps them get from here to here. They don't try harder. They don't bring hustle. We live in an industry where we've been told for years that you just need to take more shots, more shots, more shots, more shots, more at-bats, right? Make more calls, more touch points, etc. Could you imagine a professional simply doing that? I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out on a court today. Just going to throw the ball every time I get it, see if I can shoot it in the basket. Now, it doesn't mean that quantity isn't important. If we use that same analogy of the basketball player on the court that is looking to take shots, what are they doing before they take shots? They are getting into position to take shots. This is what us as pros inside the real estate world need to be doing right now, is how do you get into the right position to better make the ask? How do you get into the right position to be able to ask one more question? How do you get into the right position to find out what it is that's really going on? I'm going to try to make this as practical as possible. Would it help if you had a thinking framework that could allow you to step into every known moment that would allow you to be a more effective communicator? Remember, this means yes. You folks see my screen split in half?
Yes.
Yep.
If you want to be more influential in any conversational moment, all you need is 3 critical ingredients. 1 is curiosity, 2 is empathy, and 3 is courage. Now, I know what you're thinking. Heard these 3 words before. Where's the big idea, Phil? Well, let's try and go a little slower. Now, in any conversation in the land, you have information you'd like to be able to share, correct? Answer me this in the chat for starters. Is now a good time to buy a house, yes or no? See, any of you that are jumping straight to yes are missing the point. The answer is it does depend, and what it depends on is a huge number of circumstances, and those circumstances might not necessarily be that familiar to you. What we are looking for in any conversation first is the other person's context. I'm going to share with you a moment inside a moment that has an over-indexing impact upon the overall success you're looking to achieve. Now, you, my friends, go on listing appointments, correct? You find yourself going on listing appointments. The outcome you want from that listing appointment is where it fits. You'd like them to choose you over the other person, yes or no? You want them to choose you. And what we say is all the reasons you should choose us. These are the things that make us different. We've got this 23-point marketing plan, and we've got this killer process, and we've got this ability to be able to present your house. And everything you say about yourself that makes you different is about the same as what the other person said that makes them different. I hate to break it to you, there's just brutal truth that your differences are actually remarkably similar to the other person's differences. Rarely is it like you're awesome and the other two people they interviewed are terrible. More often than not, it's your version of awesome versus somebody else's version of awesome. And then they're like, I cannot differentiate why I would choose you over them. So what they left to differentiate on is either your price or the price that you tell them the house would be worth. That's what become the logical kickers that say, well, if everybody else's version is about the same, I'll pick the cheaper one, or I'll pick the person that tells me they think they can get me more money. Do you realize how expensive that problem is inside your business? It's one of the most expensive problems today. What we really want to be doing in those scenarios is truly understanding somebody's context. Here is a magic moment inside every listing presentation that almost every person on the planet misses. And it's the conversation you have before you step into the house and sit down. It's the moment before the moment when you arrive at a listing presentation, because that's the point that you want to be able to understand their context. What do you want to find out at that moment? I saw Rachel's lips moved. She's like, their motivation, their motivation. So what some of you do is you ask questions like, what is your motivation for moving? And they tell you an answer that isn't necessarily the answer. I want to show you what happens if you get strategically curious at this tiny little moment. If in this moment, before you start talking about your real estate services and comps and values and your marketing plan and their motivation for move, what happens if you're strategically curious? You go back in time with your questions. Curiosity is built in the past. You're asking historic-based questions. Questions like, so how long have you guys been here? They're like, I know this one. And they'll tell you. And where were you living before? They're like, this is easy. And what is it that prompted you to move from there to here? They're like, I know this answer too. Oh, and in all the time that you've been here, what are some of the changes you've seen in the neighborhood? They go this and this and this and this and this. And what are some of the changes you've made in the house? Well, there's been this and this and this and this and this. And what might somebody else need to know if they were to make a move to this area that perhaps is non-obvious? They'll tell you this too. And having gone through that entire backstory that might have taken you 12 minutes, you can then say, so what is it at this point in time that has prompted you to think that now might be a good time to make a move? And they tell you their honest motivation, the real reason, with texture and tapestry. They share, like, in all the time that we've been here, is we thought that we'd keep the bigger space because the kids might want to come back when they're done with college and bring their grandkids. And to be honest, I keep walking past these corridors and I see the empty bedrooms, and I finally realized that they ain't coming back. And I've also realized that I wasn't here as often as I could have been when they were here, and I miss them. And I think now it's time for us all to make a move. If they share that truth with you and they do not share that truth with other agents, who's going to win? This is what I mean about finding moments inside moments that you can actually completely destroy your competition before others have even got in the game.
Well, Phil,
See-
this is something that, again, 5 years ago, what like what's got you thinking about moving? Oh, I don't know, my house has doubled in value and
That's right.
interest rates are 2%. Like we didn't have to get, I mean, you were teaching this because I sat with you 5 years ago to learn this. But even then it was like, oh, I don't know. I saw a guy at the gym and he had a Remax shirt on and I said, I need to sell my house. And so I sold my house. And like,
And
we're
the
just
moment was different though, right?
Yeah.
The moment was different 5 years ago. The moment was different 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And what we need to get to that point of having a real heart-centered conversation with somebody so they understand the why behind the what. And John's putting here in the chat is like, how would your life be different in this new home as opposed to the one that you're currently living? Find the overreaching goal. John, you do need to find the overreaching goal. You won't get it with that question. Because it's actually a hard to answer question, which means people give you surface level responses. Same as when somebody says, how are you doing? You're like, I'm doing great. Yet your inside voice could be like, this is the worst day of my life. Like, you know, where do you want to go for dinner? You give an answer, it's not the truth. And too many of our conversations at surface level. See, when you ask curious questions for long enough, you dance towards this position of empathy. And being empathetic really means being relatable. In real estate, you do know that nobody wants to buy a house. You also know that nobody wants to sell a house. They want to buy a house because, and they want to sell a house because. If you look at every client that you're working with right now, do you know the real reason that is driving the what? How many of you are working with a buyer that you think what they're looking for is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath household in this neighborhood at this price point? They're not looking for that. They're looking for something that has deep reasons that are attached to that's why they want that thing. If you don't know that, you're not that useful. And to me, this is lifestyle change. From what to what? And why? If you don't know that, you're a walking, talking brochure. If you don't know that, technology can help them find their home better than you can. Your knowledge and information of your neighborhood, price points, marketplace, etc. is not useful because I can get information quickly at a click of a button. What I need is insights, not information. And what insights are is your deep knowledge of my unique circumstances and your deep knowledge of market trends and insights and neighborhoods and housings. That little gap in the middle, that is the value you provide. But if you don't know the real reasons behind why somebody's looking to do something, then you're not that helpful. And historically, you saw yourself as being problem solvers. Today, my friends, you need to be problem seekers. We want to be looking for problems, which means, right, okay, if I want Joe to move out of his house, I say, Joe, how long have you been living where you're living? And he'd tell me. I'd say, where were you living before? He'd tell me. I'd say, like, what have you learned since living in the house that you like about it? He'd tell me. I'd say, what 3 things you like best? He'd tell me. I'd say, if there was one thing you could change, what would that one thing be? You'd tell me. I'd say, so do you see yourself living there forever? He says, I don't know. I said, well, if you did get stuck there forever, what would it mean? Well, I don't know. So what might be something that could happen in your life that could prompt you to think about potentially making a move? See, before we know it, Joe's house is for sale. And then I ask courageous questions like, so when was the last time somebody gave you an accurate understanding of what a house like yours might be worth in a market like this? Joe says, nobody has. I say, what do you understand about how valuations are really created? He says, not much. I said, do you want to know what your house is worth right now or what it could be worth if you make some better decisions moving forward? He says, maybe both. I say, well, when would be a good time for me to stop around and come take a look at a place? That is called a listing appointment creation. What I'm trying to show you is we have to be thinking differently about how we approach our conversations. We're curious until we get context. We're empathetic until we're relatable. We then know the why behind the what, and then we invite people to take the next action. And the next action isn't list a house. The next action is the next action.
Hey, Phil, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. Is there any connection? It feels to me like what you're talking about is an emotional credit report. Like, well, a lot of times lenders win because people go through the credit report part of the thing and they're like, I don't want to go over my finances again with another guy, so I'll just go with the guy I went with. So here we're doing an emotional version of that, which is I unpacked everything of why I chose this house, my motivation behind, my hopes and dreams and ambitions for the future.
For something to propel forward, it often needs a recoil to come backwards to give it the momentum to play through. Same is true in conversations. See, what ends up happening is we start asking people, what do they want to do from here? We have forward-facing conversations. But what there isn't is enough momentum in their own circumstances. So what they do is they remain hypothetical. You know, what are you looking for in an agent? Where do you want to go next? It's cute and all, but it's not driving change. If you can go backwards in time, I'm going to prove this on possibly one of the hardest conversations to deal with on the planet. The hardest conversation to deal with in the entire planet is What's for dinner? Am I right? Anybody who cohabits? One of the most difficult conversations in the world is, what's for dinner? And it typically results in a version of, well, I don't know, what do you want? I say, I don't know, you pick this time. And, you know, before we know it, we've had 25 minutes of back and forth, and we are now like Googling for divorce attorneys. Like, that's what's happening at this what's for dinner. And then because we cannot solve this dispute, both people go to bed hangry, having eaten what neither of the people wanted. And it's because we don't know how to ask questions. Look what would happen here in this example. Remember, rapport is built in the past. Curious questions go backwards first because I need to get context. Instead of me responding to the what do you want for dinner question, here's what I do. I say, well, what did you have for lunch? She says, I know this one. Tells me. I say, how hungry are you? She's like, this is not that hard. Pretty darn hungry. I say, do you want to eat in or are you looking to head out? She just stepped out of the shower and she's wearing a PJ. She said, I'm going nowhere. I say, I get it. I then have to jump back to curiosity and say, what's in the fridge? She says, nothing. I say, I guess we're ordering in. She says, yeah. I say, is there anything you're opposed to? She says, nothing I'm opposed to. I say, if I was to order Chinese and get the usual, is there anything you'd like to add? Oh, no. Well, actually, yes. Maybe those spring rolls. All right. So I tell you what, I'll take care of the order. And it's everything we normally get, plus the spring rolls. Don't worry, honey. I got you. I love you. See the difference? Those should be our client conversations. Understanding this, would it help if I could give you a structure to approach everybody you're currently working with to get back in control? Because I'm going to show you how every conversation in your entire real estate business needs to go. How many of you are calling clients that you did business with in the past, prospects you almost did business with in the past, leads, and you're calling them saying things like, hi, it's me, your real estate agent, like just checking in, seeing how you're doing, see if I can help you with the market update. Did you get the CMA I sent you and all this other stupid shit? We have to stop it. If we want to approach people with more finesse, here is a structure that's going to change your world. I write about it in Exactly What to Say and Exactly What to Say for Real Estate, but most of you don't even get quite how useful this is. To start any conversation, firstly, you need to build a frame. We build a frame with opening, fact, question. We need a polite opening, followed by a mutually agreeable fact, then an easy to answer question. So if you're calling somebody, what might be an example of somebody you want to call? Somebody who's in your database right now. Give me an example in the chat. So we've got open house client, we've got expired, we've got seller with cold feet, we've got past client. Let's take open house. That was the first one I saw. Open house guest, opening. I'm going to call you and I'm going to say, hey, Matt, it's Phil. Right? Now I need a mutually agreeable fact. We met briefly at the open house on Saturday, and I know we didn't get a good time to chat. Did you see everything you wanted to see at the house? What's he going to say? Yes, no, maybe. Doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter what he says. Polite opening, mutually agreeable fact, easy to answer question. But where do I go from here? This is where the puzzle starts to come in. Where do I go from here? Well, I now need a questioning arc. My questioning arc is past, present, future. We're going to stay on the open house. I'm going to say, hi, Matt, it's Phil calling. We met briefly at the open house on Saturday. And I know it was pretty rapid. Did you get to see everything and all the information that you needed on that particular house? He says, yes, no, maybe. Now, whatever he then says is I say, well, what did you learn from the showing and the weekend of viewings? Okay. And what is your current situation? He tells me that. And where are you looking to go from here? He'll tell me that too. I then say, would it help if? And then I make an offer. Would it help if we kept you informed of future open houses that you might be worth you coming to take a look at? Yeah, that would help. And then I'm going to schedule next action with when would be a good time. Now, this sounds insanely simple, but let's look back at these scenarios. We got a past client. Hey, Paul, it's Phil calling. Back in 2022, I was the agent that helped you buy your house, and you probably don't remember me. But are you folks still living at 123 Main Street? Yeah, we're still here. Okay. So what's happened for you folks since? And what's your current situation? And what are you thinking you might want to do next? Oh, well, would it help if you had an accurate understanding what a house like yours might be worth now that market's changed? Yeah, I guess. Well, when would be a good time for me to drop round, come take a look at the place? Oh, it's expired listing. Hey, Susanna, it's Phil calling. I see that you were recently on the market looking to sell 123 Main Street and that you didn't manage to have the success that you were potentially looking for. Is the house still for sale or are you planning on keeping it? Well, we're not planning on keeping it. Oh, okay. So what did you learn through last experience? Oh, gotcha. So what's your current situation? Where are you looking to go from here? Would it help if you had an alternative viewpoint on what you could do differently for next time? Yeah, I guess so. So when would be a good time for me to stop around and take a look at the place? You want to invite a client to a holiday event? Hey, Eric, Phil calling. I know we don't get to speak too often, but you're on our email list and learning about events. Do you receive our emails okay? Yes, no, maybe. Okay. You probably know that we do some events. Have you been to any of our events in the past? Yes, no, maybe. Okay. Well, like, would you be open to maybe doing something over the holidays that we can celebrate you? Yeah, sure. What have you got in mind? Well, what are you doing on the 22nd of December? Well, I'm free. Well, would it help if I could personally send you the invite? Yeah. And when would be a good time for you to get back to me with your RSVP?
Guys, if any of you have heard me speak before, you know what Phil's doing here is principle-based structure for conversations as opposed to tired, old, beat-up scripts. Like we all have our list of scripts we've gotten in the past that we've probably tried and failed a lot. This is principle-based conversational excellence. So Phil, why these principles as opposed to just writing down a script and reading it to everyone?
Do you want to learn to make music or do you want to go to a karaoke bar? Like the difference is, like, I can give you the song lyrics to any song on the planet and you can try and sing it and have no idea of the message that was written behind those lyrics. You ever been in a karaoke bar and somebody's belting out a song about death with a giant smile on their face, thinking they're having a great time? They completely miss the moment. That's what happens when you give people the lyrics, but you don't give them the method that comes behind it. So what I try to do is teach people method. And it's like every song on the planet has been made up with the same notes. There aren't more notes. There are a number of notes. And I'll make this really simple. Is I'm going to show you our role play cards in action. There's a simple. Any of you dealing with an overpriced listing right now? Or somebody who is maybe this one, like either overpriced listing or they want to bring it to market overpriced and you're having a struggling pricing conversation up front. Like, watch what happens if I just run the words in order. Somebody is trying to overprice the house. And this is just method in practice. I say, look, I get it. I know that you're looking to sell the house and you're looking to sell the house for a fair price. Is that right? And they say, yes. I say, well, what do you understand about the potential consequences of overpricing? They say, well, what do you mean? I said, well, what is your experience of seeing something in the shop window for more than you want to pay? Oh, yeah, I guess I'll probably keep on walking. Well, how certain are you that you don't want people to overlook your home in the marketplace because it was priced too high to start with? I mean, when was the last time that you asked somebody for a discount on something? When was the last time that you believed that you priced up and then you'd fight it down? Oh, you don't do that? Got it. Well, how important is it to you that you get maximum eyeballs on this home when it comes to market? How important is it to you that we're not, 30 days on from now and talking about price adjustments and having to then defend our position? I mean, how important is it to you that you're sold before we get to the holidays? Yeah, but like on a scale of 1 to 10. I mean, could it be possible that by pricing it here, it could actually cost you money in the long run? Yeah, I guess so. I mean, how would you feel if we're 90 days on from now and you still had no offers? Just imagine by alternative that you had a sea of people that are in the market to buy a house right now, seeing your house because they thought they could get a better deal. And how would you feel if that's how the smart people got it done? Look, if you're serious about selling, then we're serious about finding you a buyer at the best price. But if you're just looking to speculate and see what might happen, then you might need a different plan. So when would be a good time for us to have a proper pricing conversation? And I'm guessing you haven't got around to making the adjustments that we talked about on the home. Listen, the way I see it is you have 3 options. For sure, what you could do is you could come to market high, cross your fingers, and hope that there is one person in the market right now that's prepared to pay that premium price, even though we are knocking out anybody else that could be looking. We could take that choice. Alternatively, if you really just want to sell it quickly, we could set a price right down here at the floor, and you could probably have a buyer this afternoon. Or what we could do is we could take an informed price and have it slightly below market position, so it's well banded inside the search engine, so it gets maximum exposure in the market. We could drive all of our marketing activity at that adjusted price point and look to see what we can do to get multiple people who are interested in this type of house coming at it at the same time. Out of those 3 options, which one do you think is going to get you sold quickest and for the best price? Because there are 2 types of people in this world. There are those that hope for massive results, and there are those that run the plays that work. And I bet you're a bit like me, that when it comes to important decisions, you'd rather follow a proven method than speculate or leave it to chance. Look, don't worry, we've been in situations like this a dozen times before, and most people think that you price high and that you sell down, and that's just a mistruth. The good news is we know what we're doing. Like in the last 12 months, we sold 32 homes in this neighborhood using the exact same methodology. So what happens next on from here is that we put together an aggressive plan, an aggressive playbook, and then what you do is this, this, and this, and what I do is this, this, and this. Make sense? But that, my friends, is method. That wasn't a script. That's me just taking the role play cards in order and going, I'm taking the problem of the fact that somebody thinks their house is worth this and I need it priced here to sell it, and I'm approaching it one step at a time. Useful?
It seems as though Phil,
Go on, bud.
it seems as though knowing how to ask good questions is always the solution to the problem. I think so many people struggle because they're trying to issue great statements, and that's just really hard to do. But asking a great question is not rocket science.
It is. It's harder than rocket science because it requires emotional intelligence. It requires an awareness of the outcome that you're looking to be able to manage. There's a big difference between being right and getting the right result. Making statements is easier. Engineering what your version of perfect is easier. Helping people go through behavioral change is remarkably difficult. That's why we avoid it. That's why we hide behind statements. And deciding that it's actually hard is step 1. If it was easy, any fool could do it. The trouble is people want to give you the easy button because you want the easy button. So we say, here's the script. Now, have any of you ever worked from a recipe book? You got given a recipe book and you said, I'm going to make this dish from this recipe book. And you did everything it said it was supposed to do. And you followed the recipe perfectly. And then you look at what you made and you look at what the picture is of what it was supposed to look like. And they're not the same. See, the recipe can't be it. There has to be some skill that comes to the execution on the recipe. And that's what professionals do. Professionals practice. Like, I could take any scenario on the planet and I can run that stack of word choices. Any single one on the planet. Why? Because I've got a gazillion reps. Like, one of you right now has got a kid that won't tidy their bedroom, and I can be like, look, I get it. I know that you want to live in this house and you don't want to do any more work than you need to. I mean, what do you understand about how much work that goes into us keeping this roof over your head comfortably? And what is your experience of what it takes to be able to run a house? And how certain are you that you want to keep this roof over your head for the sustainable future? I mean, when was the last time you actually tried to tidy your bedroom? When was the last time you did anything meaningful to help us around the house? When was the last time that you cared to show us that you cared to live here? And how important is it to you that me and your dad don't hate you? Could it be possible that your actions and behaviors are making our life in this household unnecessarily difficult? And how would you feel if you were in our shoes? But just imagine how much happier you could make this entire household from some simple actions. And if you are deliberately being an arsehole, then you can go do that somewhere else. But if you care about living here and you care about what we've done for us, then you can make some simple changes. So when would be a good time for you to go up there and tidy your room properly? And I'm guessing you haven't got around to putting those other things away yet. And look, the way I see it is you have 3 options. And there are 2 types of people in this world. There are those that talk a good game, and there are those that do the work to play one. And I bet you're a bit like me, that when seeing your ways are less than ideal, you're prepared to step up and change it. Don't worry, I get it. I was a teenager once too. And most people keep pushing back and pushing back and pushing back. The good news is that you're smarter than that. So what happens next is you're going to take a breath, you're going to go for a walk, and you're going to come back and be the version of yourself that we both know that you can be. How do you do that? Practice. Yet what most real estate agents do, they practice on their prospects and wonder why they get amateur results. Professionals practice in the practice room, but also practice looks like practice. You could listen to that practice that I just ran there right now and be like, yeah, it wouldn't quite go like that on game day. No, it wouldn't. Just like if Steph Curry goes out and sits on a 3-throw line and goes boom, 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 does it go like that on game day? No. But because he's done those practices on repeat in environments, how much more confidence exists in game day? And real estate's becoming a pro sport. If you want pro level results, you have to work on pro level skills. And the greatest expense inside your business right now is other people's indecision. If you've got somebody stuck in maybe, undecided about what their path forward is, that procrastination is your expense. What winning in today's market is helping people make their mind up quicker. You have people that are in certain sets of circumstances, correct? And whether they like it or dislike it, their life is in order. If we go to helping Joe move from his house to something else, whether he likes it, loves it, or loathes it, his life is in order. Now, our job is to get them to new order. How do you get somebody from order to new order? Well, you go through chaos. There's no other route. Order to new order travels through chaos. So our job is to be chaos navigators. How do we help the people in our life navigate the chaos that's in front of them so they can make harder decisions with more confidence? That's your job. It isn't knowing real estate. Knowing real estate and knowing the transactional process, that's important, but it's table stakes. It might get you in the game, but it doesn't get you on the podium. Podium is helping people make messy decisions. So, Joe, I know I've ranted at people for 40 minutes or so. Has this been helpful?
Amazing. Yeah. So guys, now's a great time to ask some questions. I think Phil is really good at delivering content. He's a master, but man, when you propose a hard question to him is where you really see his genius. And I've been in many workshops with him where someone tries to corner him and it's like, nobody can put baby, AKA Phil Jones, in a corner. So raise your hand if you guys have a question.
It's mainly for white folks. I mean, they can't.
I don't think that, hold on one second. I don't think that's a question.
No, I got it.
So if you have a question, go ahead and raise your hand. In the meantime, Phil, what are you seeing as far as the real estate? You kind of hinted at this at large, but I mean, you've been involved in this game now, real estate wise, for 15 years or so. Mm-hmm. You've seen a massive shift. I'm kind of obsessed with the fact that 5-6 years ago, anybody at the gym wearing a Century 21 shirt was likely to show up and get some clients. The game is very different now. So what's the biggest changes you've seen in our industry as somebody who's connected but not a practicing real estate agent?
The ones that are winning are playing a way longer game. There is a lot of work, effort, and impetus, even on lead generation, around like working your pipeline in 30, 60, 90 days. What I'm encouraging people to do is to work a 30, 60, 90 month pipeline. If you can play a longer game, everybody becomes a prospect again. You become less concerned about buying leads when everybody's a lead, if you can delay the gratification that comes from it. As competitive as this industry is becoming, with the differentiators being price points, numbers, who's cheapest, who's quickest, etc., is if you can get farther up the food chain so that that person isn't going anywhere else, you win before others even get in the game. That would be today's lesson. And here's a sad truth. I'm going to pick on somebody. So just answer me this on the chat: is how many clients do you have? Clients, past clients, people you've transacted with in the past. What's the number? Hit me that number in the chat. Vincent says 385. Anthony, yeah. Hey Anthony, miss you, bud. 534. Mike 250. Susanna 550 plus. See, some of you are guessing, which means you give answers that you don't know. But if I take Vincent's 385 clients, Vincent, if I called those 385 people today and asked them the question, who is your real estate agent? How many of those 395 would say Vincent's my guy without thinking for a second? It would come out like Tourette's. It would just be like, Vincent's my guy. And the answer for most of you is that percentage is ugly. That answer is not enough. They might have seen you as the agent that was helpful on that one transaction back then. That agent had helped me once in the past, but there's a big difference between being you were the agent that helped me buy a house in 2022 and did a decent job, and you're my agent. So the work I'd be doing today is to get in touch with everybody I'd like to do business with again and make sure they would never say anything other than my name on repeat when asked that question. Not who was your agent, who is my agent. That means that we have to be helpful to those people today. And I want you to see this structure I gave you earlier. Now, if you sold somebody a house 2 years ago, 3 years ago, do they need to transact with you again today? Maybe, maybe not. But we can still be helpful. Hey, Amy, it's been 3 years since we worked together on your house. Are you guys still living at the property? Yeah, we're still here. Well, what's happened for you guys since? Okay. And what's happening for you right now? Oh, and what are your plans for the future? Oh, you're thinking about doing an upgrade, a remodel, or this, etc. Okay. Well, would it help if you had some trusted recommending contractors that you could speak to for pricing? Yeah, that would help. And when would be a good time for me to get that information across to you? Oh, I send the details. Hey, Amy, last week I sent you across those contractor details. Did you receive them okay? Yeah, got them just fine. So, what have you learned from speaking to them? Okay. And what does that mean you're going to do next? Okay. So where do you go from here? I don't know. I mean, would it help if you had an understanding of what, those cosmetic changes might do to the value of your home? Yeah, I guess so. Well, when would be a good time for me to stop round and maybe share with you some market analysis alongside taking a look at what you've done with it? Okay. On that, you agree to send them a CMA. I leave the CMA with them and I say, hey, it was great to see you last week. And following our meeting, I dropped you across that market analysis report. Did you find any time to look at it? Okay, so what did you learn? And what does that make you think right now? And where do we go from here? So would it help if we reconnected every year and provided you an updated piece of information? And when would be a good time for us to chat mid-year about seeing how you can maximize all the services we provide at ABC Realty? Hey, we spoke back in November, and what you mentioned is that you're in no rush to be able to move and you still love the house. Is that still true, or has anything changed? Yeah, still pretty true. So what's happened for you over the last 12 months? And what do you got planned for the holidays? Not much. What are you up to on the 22nd of December? Why? What do you got in mind? Well, would it help if I could introduce you to a few more local people and help you find some more like-minded individuals in the neighborhood? And when would be a good time for me to drop the invite in your inbox? See, it's the same on repeat. Every conversation.
So what would calling a past client, Phil, looking for referrals, friends and family of theirs that may be looking to transact in the,
Hey, Joe.
2026.
Phil calling. You probably don't remember me, but I was the real estate agent that helped you find the house back in 2022. You guys still living in the house?
Yeah,
Ah, how's it going?
we love it. It's awesome, actually.
Okay. You say it's awesome. What makes it so awesome?
We love our backyard. We had dinner out there last night.
Yeah.
Truth be told, it was great.
Who were you having dinner with?
We had just some friends over, and a couple of my kids. Two of my kids are not living at home, but yeah, it was great.
Okay. And is that something you plan to continue to do?
As much as possible. My wife hates the mosquitoes, but when I can get her out there, it's a great time.
Okay. And I'm going to put another question in here. When was the last time? When was the last time you found yourself at one of those sort of cookout family events and the conversation turned to real estate?
Quite a bit, actually. It's a hot topic in our neighborhood. Somebody just put up a for rent sign, and people hate that. So, yeah, it comes up quite a bit.
Well, would it help if next time that something like that comes up, that you knew you had us as a trusted resource that could help you or any of your friends or family?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would love to refer you, but I can't say I think of it off the top of my head every time.
Well, would it help if we just produced a simple asset for that we could provide for you to be able to hand to friends and family without it being a big lift to you?
Yeah. What are we looking at?
Well, I could produce a simple business card or a flyer or something that could help have some of their common questions answered, or if we had
digitally.
Digitally
Something I could text people, maybe. Like,
okay.
if you text me something from your number that I could then just forward to people, that'd be awesome.
Okay. And when would be a good time for you to be able to then share that with some of the people you've already been talking to?
If it comes up, I need to think back on some of the conversations I've had and figure out, who's more, likely to do something. But yeah, I'm happy to forward your stuff over.
I get it. It's always about finding the right time, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, think back historically, like, who do you already know that, may have some form of need for real estate help, advice, support at this moment in time?
I can't think of anybody off the top of my head.
Okay. So what do you got planned on the schedule this coming week where you might bump into somebody?
We're going on a cruise with a couple of people.
Okay. And on that cruise, do you think that the subject of real estate might come up?
For sure. It always does.
And would it help if I shared maybe something that you could share with them when you're on the cruise?
Yeah, for sure. Text it over.
And then when would be a good time for us to reconnect when you get back?
I probably 2 weeks, maybe 2 weeks from today, we'll be back at it.
So where are we now? We're now like, what, 10th of November? So you're talking about towards the end of November?
Yeah. Just before Thanksgiving, it'd be great.
Before or after Thanksgiving, what would be better for you?
Before.
Okay, I'll give you a buzz then. Hey, Joe, we spoke a couple of weeks back about the cruise and the fact that you might get to be able to chat with some of your friends about their real estate needs. Did that happen, or were you too busy drinking?
Yeah, funny enough, it did come up. I'm off Diet Coke, so it was all water and herbal tea for me. But it came up a couple of times.
So what happened?
They were just talking about home values and how much houses are worth right now and whether they're dropping or not. And I was like, to be honest, I don't even know, but my guy Phil does. So I forwarded over your information.
Do they know what the house is worth?
I have no idea.
Okay, but they're thinking about maybe selling?
I think if they could get the number they want, they would, but they've seen a lot of homes in the neighborhood just sit up forever and not sell. So yeah, I was like, I can't answer your question. I'll just, but here's Phil's info.
Would it help if they had a proper conversation and some real facts to help them with that decision?
For sure. Hopefully they reach out to you.
Yeah. So when would be a good time for me to reach out to them?
I'll give you their number now. You could hit them up. I already sent you their your info, so now I could send you theirs, and they wouldn't be shocked.
Just to show you how easy this is when I speak to them. It's, hey, Sally. I know we don't yet know each other, but our mutual friend Joe Herrera shared some contact details with you. Did he tell you I might be calling? What did he say about me? What's currently going on? And what are you potentially thinking about maybe doing next? Okay. So, when was the last time that you had an accurate understanding of what your house is really worth? Oh, you've seen the Zestimate. Oh, Well, would it help if you had a more accurate understanding of not only the price, but what the process would look like too, so that you could feel more informed? And when would it be a good time for me to stop by? Do these sound like the same conversation? They're the same notes.
Yeah, variables like structure, right? Like who was it? Bono said all you need is three chords in the truth.
Yeah.
So it's like the same structure, but very different content.
What I'm hoping you'll see is there's some method to this. This isn't just, hey, we're working with scripts. And I've been engineering language in sales conversations for over 25 years, worked in over 800 different end industries. Like, you can reinvent it if you like. You can just like squeeze time and compress time by not making the same mistakes I had to go through to be able to learn it. And like, even you folks all have my role play cards, right? If you don't, hit me a DM on my Instagram and I'll show you where to get them. But even like, do you know how many objections there are in real estate? That many. Like, I've already done the work for you. Even for those of you with teams, like, would it be useful just to run a role play session? Like, what do you do when somebody asks you how much do you charge? What do you do when somebody says we're just looking right now? What do you do when somebody says I'm going to go hire a discount broker? What do you do when somebody says, what if we find the buyer? What do you do if they say this other realtor sold more homes than you, so we're probably going to go with them? So you don't even have to have the answers. You're just going to have the moments. And then what can happen is you can crowdsource experience. If you got 3-5 realtors in a room, you can say, well, let's just pick any black card. Oh, okay. Shouldn't we price it higher to leave room for negotiate? Like, how does that show up in your everyday language? What do you do when we face with that? How do you get ahead of that? How do you go around it? Like, what have you experienced in that? You cannot have confidence without experience. Confidence without experience is simply arrogance. There often is not enough time to get all the experience you need to have the confidence you need in the moments that matter. So when you can't get first-hand experience, the next best alternative is second-hand experience. Second-hand experience is training, it's masterminds, it's the benefit of being in groups with other like-minded people. But you see how easy that would be? Like, forget any of my magic words, just talk about these scenarios together and say, what do you do? And when has that shown up in your world? And how did you get around it? And what mistakes have you made when you find yourself in that scenario? Watch what happens. Competence grows. It's just deciding that practice is a pro sport and stop looking for the cheat code and instead get to work on getting better. And what you can probably do, you get this right, take all the amateur agents that are in your markets, the ones that are part-time and pretending, just be so good they decide to go and drive Uber. Like, that's the gig right now, is like, have them realize it's not worth competing in real estate versus you. And let them go and try and find another easy button so they're not convoluting your market. But be so good that you put those folks out of business. That would be my initiative over the next 3 years. Put the amateurs out of business in your marketplace.
So good.
Yeah, Phil, I mean, amazing. Guys, I hope you heard that. Like, if you do not have the confidence that comes from experience, that is 100%. And Phil, I've never really thought of it this way, but this is 100% why Amy and I are so passionate about getting people together on things like RocketFuel. Because chances are I don't have the experience in an area that I need to be confident in, but one of you does. And my hope is that I can lean on you. You know, you guys can absolutely lean on us. Amy, any final thoughts? Phil, this is amazing as all. I've never sat through any call, any training, anything with you and not been blown away. Amy, any takeaways or last thoughts for people?
No, it's awesome, guys. We dropped the link to our United Community Facebook group into the chat, so you can grab the recording there. We always have it up within 24 to 48 hours. So you can continue to watch this magic, continue to learn the language and the framework that Phil taught us today, but you should mostly be grabbing a copy of exactly what to say for real estate agents. We just dropped that we've dropped it a couple of times. Phil just dropped it as well. And he did mention that if you would like to purchase the cards, is that what you just dropped there? Is the cards?
I put the direct link in, but also
Amazing.
if you just DM me on Instagram, on my Instagram handles on my screen here right now, DM me the word role play. you'll get the link straight back in there as well. And if you have any other questions, you can catch me there on Insta too.
Yeah,
And
the
then
cards make it so easy to practice. Like our team has them, they use them. It makes it so easy to go, all right, here's the scenario, ready, set, go. And you're just like, it just makes it fun and easy to practice, because I love what you said, Phil. It's impossible to play like a professional if you don't ever practice scenarios. And it's like, if your only reps are game time, that's a problem.
Right.
So good.
Especially if you want pro results, right? Is let practice look like practice as well. And we see people in teams that have really adopted this. They just mess about for an hour in the morning before they go out and start making their calls. And there's one particular office in California is they've made it culture. They just go in the office 7 till 8 a.m. and they're not making any calls. They're just saying like, what do you do in this scenario? Or they're creating a scene and they're like, where are you? And it's like, okay, well, we're speaking to a past client today. And then they're like pulling a load of the black cards out and saying, well, what could these past clients be concerned about? And they're making something random. And then they're taking all the magic words and they're saying, well, how do I, how do I use that sequence of words in that scenario, that sequence of words in that scenario, that sequence of words in that scenario? And it becomes easy.
Yeah.
I love it that Tony's in the chat saying, do I get a coupon? It's the same coupon code that you give to your clients when they're looking for a discount on their listings. Same coupon code.
It is worth double that. I can
100%. Yeah. 2%.
They're worth double that. All right,
Phil, thank you so much.
Yeah, Phil, thank you. This was amazing. Guys, we'll be back again next Monday, 9 Pacific, 12 Eastern time. We look forward to seeing you. Phil, thank you so much.
Thank you for letting me jam with you this morning. Have a great day, guys.
Thanks, Amy, Phil, and Joe.